Hey everyone, welcome to Lab 1 Part 1. By now, you should have already set up your virtual machine running Windows 98. If you haven't already, make sure you go to Canvas under Environment Setup. You can set it up in Lab using VMware, or if you're running your own machine, then use VirtualBox. So after you get that set up, go back to this video. Hey everyone, so for Lab 1 Part 1, you are going to start off by learning about the different debug commands: dump, enter, unassemble, register, modify, trace, and then after that, you're going to trace through a assembly program that the lab has provided to you, and you're going to complete the tracing chart. So let's get started. All right, so we're going to go to our virtual machine and open up MS-DOS prompt. There it is. And then the first thing we're going to do is type debug. Now we are in the debugger. So the first instruction is D, which stands for dump. On the left column here, this is the code segment, CS. This column right here is instruction pointer. And then this right here, this section in the middle, is the hexadecimal representation of the data located at this memory address. And then this far right column or far right box right here displays the ASCII representation of this data. And so if we're looking at BA right here, this is the hexadecimal that sits inside of memory location 100. And then 42 would be 101, 86 would be 102, 103, 104, all the way to F. All right, so that is our dump instructions. And you can do like a D100 to 200 if you wanted a bigger view size, or you want to view specifically just one or two instructions. You can also do that. And then our next command that we're going to be learning about today is the enter command. So this allows you to enter the specific hexadecimal into the memory address that you want to put it in. So let's say at E100, that means that we're entering a hexadecimal value at the memory location 100, which stands for BA, right? So we do E100. You see that it's BA, and then it'll ask you for the two new hexadecimal that you want to replace for that memory location. And for this example, I'll just do EA, right? And then we can verify by dumping memory location 100 to 101. And you can see at 100, it's now EA. So our next part of this is we're going to enter the entire assembly program provided to you in your manual. So you can do this two different ways. The default way is by starting at E100, and you do BA space 20 space 01 A1 00 02 8B 1E. And keep in mind that you do not press enter right here to go to the next line. It may look like I'm pressing enter, but I'm just pressing space and then 2. And so I'll continue doing that all the way to 20. That's one way of doing it. One other way that I recommend you guys to do it is by writing this instruction down into a notepad, and you just copy and paste it over, right? So do Control C and then hit the paste button right here. So that takes me all the way to 20, and hit enter. So our next instruction we're going to try is the unassemble program. So the instruction that we entered, or the assembly instructions that we entered, went from memory location 100 all the way to 118. So let's unassemble U100 all the way to 118 and see what we put inside of there. All right, so let's verify that the assembly instruction is the same as the one in the manual, right? Yes. So let's see what is going on here. So the first thing that the assembly instruction is doing is we're putting the immediate value 120 to dx, and then after that, moving whatever value that's inside of memory location 200 into AX. And the way I'm able to realize that is these brackets around the memory location, or the brackets around the address, just tells me that it is a memory address versus an immediate register. So same thing for line B, we're moving memory location or the value at memory location 0202 to BX. And then the fourth line, we're subtracting BX by AX and storing that inside of AX. The JGE, we'll discuss that a little bit more later, but essentially we're going to jump to instructions 0114, which is this line. But we're only going to do that if a condition pass. And so when we're tracing, we'll see what condition needs to pass in order for this JGE instructions to perform its jump. And the next line, we're going to add dx into ax and putting that value into ax. Same thing on the next line, we're doing a JGE to the same line 0114. The jump 010E will bring us back up to here, to the add line. And then the second to last instruction is moving whatever value is inside the register AX into the memory location 200. And int 20 stands for interrupt 20. It just means that the program is ended and your trace will stop there. All right. So next, we're going to look at the register modify instruction. So if you put R and you just press enter, it'll show you the current code segment you're sitting in. It will show you the current instruction pointer that your trace is at, and it will show you all of the values inside of your registers. And then this right here are your flags, and we'll talk more about this in just a moment. This is your code segment, instruction pointer, and you don't need to worry about this for now. So let's say I want to change the value inside of AX, right? I can do R space AX, enter, and now it will ask me what hexadecimal values I would like to enter inside of AX. I can do 00, maybe AA, enter. And then we can do R again. Now we can see that the value AX has AA inside of it. Right. And the last instruction that I want to show you guys today is the trace instruction. So what trace does is it allows you to step through the program one line at a time. Right. So right now you can see that we're at line move 120 into DX, and I can press R as many times as I want to check whatever side of the registers, what instructions I'm at. It won't step me through. And before I actually do that, let me go ahead and set AX back to 00. Okay. Now we're going to do T for trace and enter. So now you see that our first value 120 has been placed into DX. Before, right, our DX was still 00, and after we traced the move command 120 to DX, we can see that value being placed inside the DX, and now we should be expecting the same thing for AX. All right, so let's see what happens here. Okay, so now we see the value of AX get changed because whatever is inside of 200 was pushed into AX. Same thing for BX. And so you trace through the program and you get to complete this tracing chart. All right, so for the tracing chart, the thing that you're going to need is the Excel sheet under part 1, tracing chart.xls. Once you get that open, it'll look something like this. Also, make sure that you have the program entered along with the values that you plan to trace through at memory address 200. So what I mean by that is if you follow the instructions before you start tracing, you want to put values into memory address 200 and 202 because it's part of the program, right? And for 200, we want to put the value 120 into it. But if you see right here, it shows 2001, and that's because this is Little Indian. So you actually read it backwards as 0120. Same thing for 202, it would be 0250. And that's what we did over here. So we're set to begin our tracing. Let's begin, and I'm going to check our fields. Okay, our 200 is actually 120 here. And so these 4 columns, we're tracing the registers AX, BX, CX, and DX. These 3 columns, we're tracing the flags. And you can find more about the flags under Part 1 Resources, Debug Flags table. So when you get that open up, you'll see a table of the flag names and the values that represents this current state. So for example, if the flag for overflow is at NV, that means the set is at 0 right now, or it's in reset state. So I'll talk a little bit more about that once we get there. So let's begin our trace. We're going to do R first and make sure we are at IP 100. Our registers are all zeroed out. And the next instruction should be pointing to the first instruction in our program, which is moving value 120 into DX. Do our first trace. And then from here, you're going to copy the values that you see for the registers and the flags. And notice that the flags, they only show you the variables and not the actual like OV or ZF on the column. So you're going to have to look it up yourself using the table. And we're only concerned about 3 flags here, which is the overflow, the 0, and the sign flag. Go back to the debug flag, right? So over here, you can see that the overflow flag is NV, and you can see NV right here. So that means that our overflow flag right now is at 0. And then our sign flag, PL, 0. And our 0 flag, NZ, also 0. Gonna keep all those zeroed out. Our data segment should be 120 across the board, right? All right, so now we do another trace. In our next instruction, we see that we're moving whatever is inside of 200 into AX. So since we put the value 120 into 200, we should be expecting 120 in AX, right? And that is correct. 120. And you go, keep everything else the same. Right. Okay. So I'm going to trace this through a couple more times just to get this going. And you can see right here that things start changing pretty fast after the jump. You may notice that there are some flags that get changed. So I want you guys to trace through line by line, pay attention to what flags get changed and what instruction pointers you're at. Because at one point you should be expecting to jump around the program until you finally exit. In your lab report, write a note about how many times you jump and which flags were triggered that cause you to exit the loop. So in the first part of this lab, we were provided a set of hexadecimal values that we entered into the memory address 100. And then when we unassemble those hexadecimal values, we were provided this assembly program. And this part of the lab, we are going to go backwards and we are going to reconstruct the binary equivalent that represents these assembly instructions. So to start, you're going to need two files, your hand assembly template and your hand assembly instruction handout, which is under part 2 resources. Let's start off by looking at your template. So in this first example, we're moving the value 25 into the register DL. The first thing we're identifying here is going to be the address, which is 100. And then the operation is a move. And then the destination is usually going to be whatever's on the left. And that's going to be DL because we're moving 25 into DL. For your source, it's going to be 25. And then the instruction format, you can find that by looking at your hand assembly instruction handout that I showed you guys earlier. And from there, you can scroll down to the bottom and find all of the different type of instructions and their instruction format. So for the instruction move, we're moving an immediate to a register. And you see we have two options here. In this example, it looks like we're using the alternate encoding, but when you're doing it yourself later, you can use either option. So for the alternate encoding, looks like it's going to be 1011 WRG, which stands for register, and the immediate data, which in this case would be 25. So our W, we can find that by looking our handout again and scrolling up to here. And so if you're using a 8-bit register, your W is going to be 0. And if you're using a 16-bit register, then your W is going to be 1. Right, so in this case, our DL is a 8-bit register, so our W is going to be set to 0. And then our register is going to be DL, right? So we can go here and go to DL. So our register stands for 010, 010. Then our data is going to be 2 and 5, so 0010 and 5, 0101. And so when we combine these binary values in nibbles, which is 4 bits, 1011, and our W, 0, and our register, which is 3-bit, 010. So we're going to combine these 4 bits together into one nibble, 0010, and then our 2, and then our 5 for our immediate data. That gives us B225, right? So we can verify that by entering in E100, enter, and we'll do B2 space 25. And then when we unassemble that, U100 to 102, you can see that our instruction is now moving 25 into the register DL. So for the rest of this lab, I want you guys to look at the current instruction that was provided to you guys. Right here. And you're going to fill out the hand assembly chart based on these instructions.